There's a version of you that decided at some point that being hurt again simply wasn't an option. Maybe you became untouchable. Maybe you let the pain break you open until there was nothing left to break. Or maybe you just left physically, emotionally, quietly. You stopped being somewhere people could reach you. The cost? He loses himself completely. By the time Kaneki has been through enough, he doesn't know who he is without the pain. Identity becomes inseparable from wound. He can't be loved as he is, because he no longer knows what as he is even means. Before everything, before the title, the 6 eyes, the infinity, Gojo was just a kid with a best friend, Gito Shugaru, someone who saw him not as the strongest, but as a person. That's rare when you're built different, and Gojo knew it. All 3 of those are survival strategies, and all 3 of them cost you something. The question isn't which one sounds familiar, you already know. The real question is, did that strategy actually protect you, or did it just change the shape of the wound? 3 characters, 3 different childhoods interrupted, 3 different ways the psyche said, no more. Gojo Satoru built walls so high that connection itself became impossible. Kaneki Ken absorbed the pain until it rewrote who he was. Killua Zoldyck ran, not from danger, but from the terrifying possibility of being loved. They're not just anime characters, they're mirrors. And by the end of this video, one of them is going to reflect something back at you that you haven't said out loud yet. Gato didn't just leave, he broke. He became something Gojo couldn't follow, couldn't fix, and ultimately had to lose. And losing Gato wasn't just grief. It was the collapse of the only relationship where Gojo got to be human. So what do you do when the one person who made you feel real is gone? If you're Gojo, you become unreachable. Infinity isn't just a technique, it's a personality. Keep everyone at arm's length. Stay above it. Stay untouchable. If nothing gets close, nothing can be lost. But here's the cost. Gojo is surrounded by people, students, allies, missions, and he is completely alone. His humor is distance, his confidence is a wall. Even his kindness has a ceiling. He gives warmth, but never vulnerability. And a life without vulnerability isn't protection. It's isolation with good aesthetics. This is what psychologists call avoidant attachment, the belief usually formed early that needing people is dangerous. So you become self-sufficient to the point of self-erasure. You perform strength so well that no one ever asks if you're okay. And eventually, you stop asking yourself too. Kaneki Ken was gentle, bookish, the kind of person who apologized for taking up space. He was raised by a mother who martyred herself, who taught him, through silence and sacrifice, that love means erasing your own needs. He learned early, don't be a burden. Then the world ripped him open. Literally, he became something monstrous, half human, half ghoul, and he had no framework for it. He didn't fight the transformation, he absorbed it. Over and over he let pain reshape him, because somewhere underneath he believed he deserved it. Kaneki's response to trauma is what's called self-destructive identification. He doesn't just survive, he becomes the suffering. Every version of Kaneki is built on whatever broke him last. White hair, cracked nails, a new name. He transforms because transformation feels like control when nothing else does. This is the psychology of the person who has been through so much that suffering becomes their identity. Not because they want to hurt, but because pain, at least, is familiar, predictable, and somewhere along the way they confused endurance with worthiness. Killua was born into a family of assassins. Before he could choose anything, a hobby, a friend, a future, his entire nervous system was wired for danger, control, and detachment. Warmth wasn't part of the curriculum. Survival was. Then he met Gon, and something in Killua cracked open, not from pain, but from something worse, hope. The possibility of being loved not for what he could do, but for who he was, and that terrified him more than any enemy ever had. Killua runs, not always physically, but emotionally. The moment a connection deepens, he finds a reason to exit. He self-sabotages. He leaves first. In psychology, this is called fearful avoidant attachment, the person who wants closeness desperately, but believes they will destroy anything they love. The cost is a life lived at the edge of belonging. Always close, never inside. He loves gone fiercely, and uses that love as a reason to disappear. He tells himself it's protection, but it's also punishment for believing, even for a moment, that he deserved to stay. This is the pattern of someone conditioned to believe their presence causes harm. You pull away before you can be pushed. You give everything, then vanish before anyone can decide it wasn't enough. The running isn't weakness. It's a wound wearing the costume of strength. So here we are. 3 characters. 3 survival strategies. And now the uncomfortable part. Gojo is the person who became invincible so they'd never have to grieve again. Kaneki is the person who made pain their personality so they'd never have to heal. Killua is the person who loved deeply and ran anyway. Which one are you, not as a fixed identity, but right now, in this season? In the relationship you're in, or the one you're avoiding? Are you performing strength? Are you carrying pain you've started to call your character? Are you already halfway out the door of something good? This isn't a diagnosis, it's a mirror. And the fact that you recognize yourself in any of them means the self-awareness is already there. The hard part isn't seeing it. It's deciding what to do next. Gojo's story teaches us that strength without vulnerability isn't power, it's armor. And armor keeps out the cold, but it also keeps out the warmth. Kaneki's story teaches us that identity built on pain is always temporary. You are not your wounds, no matter how long you've worn them. Killua's story teaches us that leaving first isn't the same as being safe. The people who run the fastest are usually the ones who wanted to stay the most. You don't have to choose between invincibility and devastation. There's a third option, and it looks like letting someone close enough to actually know you. That's the work, and it's worth it. Now I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments, are you a Gojo, a Kaneki, or a Killua? And if you've shifted between them, tell me when and why. I read every single one.